This is the story of Stephanie Taylor. During the pandemic of 2020, the whole globe slowed down and fear swept the earth. People were getting sick and dying of a disease they had never even heard of. So many families didn't know how to take care of their sick loved ones. They were afraid to not take care of them and risk them getting worse, but also afraid of taking care of them and risking their own health. Medical professionals were working around the clock while the rest of the world stopped. So many people had lost their jobs and were at risk of losing their homes. Stephanie saw an opportunity to still make enough of an income to survive while helping others. She advertised herself as an in-home nurse for families that needed care, but were too afraid to do it themselves or be exposed to more strains of the virus in hospitals. The problem was, Stephanie wasn't a nurse in her real life. She was a veterinarian, and when her practice closed down, she figured she knew enough about organs and bodies that she could make it work on humans. She was quickly in over her head and found an out by euthanizing one of the patients she couldn't help. The patient was an older woman. Her breathing was very slow, and her heart rate had fallen greatly. Even if she lived, she would only have a few years of life left, so Stephanie made the decision on behalf of the woman and took her life. She told the family that the woman had passed due to complications of the virus. No autopsy was done because her passing had made sense. With being a veterinarian, this felt normal to Stephanie. It's common to put down ill pets that would live a painful and short-lived life. Yes, she cared for and made pets better, but seeing suffering was not easy for her. She had the means to get supplies because the pharmacy in her office had been fully stocked before closing down, so she could either try to make people live with a terrible virus that was still unknown the damage it would do to the earth, or help them pass with dignity. In that moment, she had decided that she would charge a hefty sum for in-home care. If these families were looking for it, they could obviously afford it. And in her care, the patients she deemed super ill, she would put into a deep sleep that they would never come out of. Her plan worked well for a few months while everyone was so enthralled in panic. But toward the end of 2020, she made a mistake and misdosed a patient. The man weighed almost twice as much as he should for his age, and the dosage she gave him wasn't enough to kill him, only make him appear dead. The next day, when the coroner came to his home, they found him alive, not well, but still alive. Quickly, Stephanie's credentials were questioned. When it came to light that she worked with animals, not people, an outrage erupted and a lawsuit was filed against her. She was arrested, but due to COVID restrictions, there wasn't a safe space in a prison for her. The court decided that because she wasn't a violent offender, she only took people's lives in a civilized way, that she could be paroled into her own home and wait for her trial there. She wasn't going to wait, though. Stephanie left everything behind and vanished. There was no way to find her or track her down, and with the insanity of the pandemic, her disappearance was swept under the rug and was never deeply investigated. For all we know, she could be your neighbor or your friend or your beloved pet's veterinarian.